Hello and welcome to my steampunk makeover featuring Dixie Belle paint products. I found this cute little table at my local thrift store. At $16, it was definitely a steal. I needed to take it home and retighten the base and the joints and add a couple brackets. After I repaired the base, I came in with Slick Stick. This is my gripping primer for any slick or shiny surfaces. Today's piece is a little table that I picked up at the Goodwill. Now, I got this table because it was very wobbly. Don't be afraid of fixing some stuff when you guys find it at the thrift stores. We know that right now thrift stores are very expensive. Everybody has increased their prices, and that is crazy. So this little table was only $16 because the one leg was actually like almost busted off and not attached. All it took was for me to flip it upside down, tighten up the little Allen keys on the interior, and then add some little brackets to the back of each leg. Little metal brackets to secure it to the shelf. It's solid as a rock now, solid. So I looked at this weird and wild little table and I thought, well, this is a perfect one for some steampunk action. It's got like a weird little texture on it. It's a manufactured wood. You could see where the chip was, where there was like a particle board underneath. So I coated this a couple days ago in 2 even coats of Slick Stick. Slick Stick is your gripper for anything slick or shiny, any shiny surfaces. You can paint metal, you can paint plastic, you can paint laminate wood like this little guy right here. So next time you go thrifting and you find a cutie little table, but you think that's not real wood and it's broken, you can still buy it and fix it. Let's recycle all the things. I'm a big fan of recycling everything and making it new again. Give it some new life. So let's look at the inspo for this piece, shall we? All right. So in my order this week, I believe there's a promotion going on. If you order a certain amount of dollars from Dixie Belle, you get a free transfer. What the heck? So I ended up getting the Steampunk Transfer. And now here's the deal. I know this is not the most popular transfer, but I use it a lot. And every time I do anything steampunk, it sells like crazy. It sells like crazy, y'all. So let's take a minute and look at this transfer. This is a Steampunk Transfer from Bells and Whistles line. Inside this, there are 6 sheets, not 4, 6 sheets. And I'm going to show you what's inside. And we're going to base this piece on the inspo for steampunk. So you've got 6 sheets of transfer. I'm going to show them to you. 1, really cute, really kind of gear-like little bugs and glasses. I'm not going to use the whole thing, but I'll definitely be doing some layering. So that's the first one. 2, look at that. Cool wheels, more gears. Little boots, creepy little steampunk guy. More gears. This'll fit perfectly on the side of this piece. And then there's 2 sheets of this like piping, which is amazing. I think I'll end up covering the entire bottom shelf or maybe the entire top in this really cool piping. Isn't that neat? This transfer is like a hidden gem. If you haven't tried this transfer before, you should totally give this one a go because I think you'll like it. And like I said, anytime I ever do anything steampunk, it flies. It flies right out the door. So the base for this piece today, this weird and wild little kind of square-ish table, is to do a steampunk inspo piece. Now, there's another thing I'm going to stick on here because no steampunk piece would be complete without some Woodubend, right? We all know Woodubend is my favorite jewelry for your furniture. This is Woodubend gears. This is Woodubend number, let's see, 56, Woodubend 56. And I had a couple extra floating around the bottom of my drawer, so I grabbed those too. So Woodubends are really great because if you haven't tried them before, you're going to see, number 1, that they're easy. And number 2, that they add a lot of character to a piece. So Woodubends come in a package like this that you're seeing. They're supported by a wood bracket. Now the reason is because in this state, when they're not warm, they're fragile little creatures. You could break them. If you bent this or tried to manipulate it when it's not warm, it will break. So what you need to do is flip it over, heat up the backing of the molding. Once the molding is completely nice and warm, you can actually use a heat gun for this or a hairdryer. Then you're going to be able to manipulate the shape. You can cut it, you can drill it, you can bend it around corners. I was thinking along with the transfer, I would do like a couple gears on each corner. So this is going to be my steampunk inspo, and I thought we would do some little painting today. Who wants to sit on the floor and play with some paint? Sound like a plan? Let's do it. All right. As always, if I don't see your message or your question fly by because I'm doing too much of this and too much of this and not enough looking up here, I will reread it when I come back up. As always, answer any questions that you might have. And yeah, today's project is going to be dark and steampunk. So let's bring you in nice and close so you can see what we're doing here today. So this is pine cone, caviar, and gravel road. I know for sure I'm going to use pine cone and caviar because I kind of want like a deep vibe, right? If you remember, if you look at the transfer, there's a lot of browns in here. There's some really great colors hanging out on this transfer that I thought would complement it well. If you're ever in doubt and if you ever have questions about what color do I choose to do this transfer, like maybe you saw this piece, you thought, oh, I could use this transfer, but I don't know what colors would work well with this. That's easy peasy, y'all. You can go to the Dixie Belle Paint page at www.dixiebellepaint.com and go to something called the color mixer. Have you heard of the color mixer before? It's amazing. It's so easy to use. On the color mixer, you have the opportunity to upload a photo, take a picture of anything that you're looking for your inspo from. Say you had a beautiful pillow and you wanted all the colors from the pillow. Say you had this gorgeous transfer and you took a picture of this. What the color mixer is going to do is pull all of these colors that are in this transfer and give you an exact match to paint your project with. It's going to tell you what colors to mix. If you wanted to make a custom color, you could pick already colors that were available on the Dixie Belle Paint page. So today I'm going to mix caviar and pine cone, possibly gravel road. That's my wild card today. We're going to do a dark ombre blend. And in order to do this dark ombre blend, if you wanted to paint with me today, you're going to need your best dang brush. What's the best dang brush, you ask? Best dang brush is my most favorite brush in the entire world. You can see how well loved it is. It is a synthetic and natural fiber brush that I use for blending. You'll see me come in and do small circles like this to keep this paint movable and blend it around. You're also going to need a spray misting bottle filled with water, which dun, 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 I don't see on my floor. Am I sitting on it? Maybe not. I'm going to have to grab another one. Good thing I have about 4 or 5 very close by. Hold tight while I bring this little cart over here and grab a spray misting bottle filled with water. There you go. So a spray misting bottle filled with water is essential for a blending look because you want to do this where your paint is damp and wet. All right, you guys want to paint? Let's paint. All right, so chalk mineral paint today, best dang brush, separate brush for each color, but I think I'm going to combine my caviar and gravel road. So I'm going to use 2 brushes today, 1 best dang brush, 1 spray misting bottle, and we're going to do an ombre blend. And if I can get it dry enough, we're also going to apply some Woodubend moldings to the side of this piece. Let's do it. All right. So far, so good. So far, so good. I'll bring you in nice and close so you can see everything. And we're going to just give my paint a little bit of a shake. I already shook it before the video started. So pine cone is a beautiful brown, and caviar is obviously a beautiful black color. Gravel road is gray and in between. What I hope to achieve with this little ombre look today is a great base for my blending. I also have on the floor a rag, which I'm going to be using to blot off my brush when I get too much paint on here. I also have a heat gun on the floor in case I need to dry my paint as I move along. So let's begin. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to work in sections. I'm going to consider each section of this piece almost like a box, right? If I work here in this box, get this down, turn it, I can work on the next bit. I don't know if I'll get to the bottom painting today or the top, but for sure we can start on the sides. So I'm going to jump right in with the caviar. Caviar is the blackest of the black from the chalk mineral paint line. And I am just going to come in here around these edges. You'll be able to see the texture a little bit more when the paint goes down on this piece because it is a textured surface. It's like a manufactured wood, but it's a really cute little table. And I thought, it's kind of an odd shape, and when things already look a little bit weird and wild and wonderful, that means that I'm going to make them even better, right? It's the way we're going to do it. So there's your beautiful black caviar. Let's skip the gravel road and just jump right into pine cone and see what happens. So sometimes when you mix these 2 colors together, like a brown and a black, you're able to get almost like a leather looking paint job, if that makes sense. So this textured surface, this kind of lumpy and bumpy surface that you're seeing here, might get a little bit looking like a leather, which is perfect because we're going to make this box like a steampunk wonder. Okay, I'm going to give it a little blast with my heat gun because I'm going to be blending on the second coat. I just want to make sure that this black is going to stay. The pine cone doesn't really need to be blended on the second coat as much because the majority of the middle is going to stay the same. So I just really want to blast this caviar and get it down on my piece. In normal times, I would obviously just be painting along and taking my sweet time, but because I'm painting here for you today, we're going to get this done. Lickety split quick. I want to see if I can get this whole side done and dry so that I can put those Woodubends on there and show you how that works. So I'm reapplying the darker black. And to be honest, this is still really wet. You just want to make sure that this is a wet surface. So I'm just going to spray this a little bit with my water. Now, this brush, this best dang brush, works best when it's damp, okay? It's gonna hold a lot of paint in here. So when you see me put my brush down like this, I'm wiping it off on a rag on my lap, okay? I'm gonna hold it up here close to the bristles. When you hold your brush closer to the bristles like this, it gives you a little bit more control. If you came at it like this, I mean, that's too hard. Nobody wants to hurt their piece, right? So you wanna hold it nice and close to the edge. I'm gonna hold my table because it's on wheels and I don't want it to wobble out of the way. I'm going to start on the edges because I want this darker to travel in the middle. I think I'll probably leave this part more of like a true black, but for now I'm just going to start with blending the pine cone into this black. Let's see what happens. I can feel my brush dragging a little bit. I'm going to wipe it off on the rag that's here in my lap. You can see the small circular motions are great because it's just giving my little texture. This piece is not smooth. It has a textured finish on it already. So I'm just pulling those two colors together. How simple is that? I feel like I get the most questions about blending, and it's a finish I do the most often. So I think it's a great way to kind of show you how to achieve a blended look. So that middle is going to stay fairly, you know, full of that pine cone. It's not really going to get any color change. I'm just going to keep rubbing my brush so that I can achieve that same kind of circle motion that I'm doing. What do we think? Does it look like leather? Kinda. I'm going to come in here with my black a little bit more in the corner where I can see. I just kind of want a little bit more, I think, in the dark depths of the corners. Let's just mix this around. It's a weird combo, right? Like, have you ever blended these two colors before? I'm gonna put my money on no. But if you look at this, and you look at this, and you think about gears and gold, and you think about steampunk, I could find if I have any steampunk stencil. There's a beautiful silkscreen stencil with a steampunk design on it as well. That, my friends, is the look we're going for today. What do you think? Does it look like leather? I should bring you nice and close so I can show you the detail. Let's see if I can take you for a little ride. Dun, dun, dun. Can you see on this like, it's almost like there's weird lines on this finish. It was kind of like black in color before. This is obviously pure black, but it was like a black with like weird striations across it. And I think that this now looks kind of like a leather box. You have a couple options. You're able to continue this process all the way around and maybe paint the bottom completely black. You could do like the legs black and then come in and just do like a lighter finish like this in the middle. What do you think? What should I do? I mean, obviously we're going to continue this all the way around, right? I think it looks really cool. I like that color combo. So I'm going to put the lid right back on the gravel road because we're not going to use it today. I think I'm just going to stick with the brown and the black and create almost like a suitcase look to my piece, right? So taking the hardware off and painting with the drawers in because these drawers don't come out. They're stuck in there. This is like a manufacturer table. It's nothing fancy. So we're just going to paint around it. All right. So let's do the same thing that we did. Also with the screw. This screw doesn't come out because there's like a tray up here. See this weird little tray? So we're going to paint around what we just did. I'm going to try not to get my black all the way over on the other edge. Using my black caviar and my pine cone today. I like these tiny tables. I am a big tiny table flipper. I think a lot of people have trouble selling a single table. I do not, because I make them as weird and wild as possible. When they're weird and wild, people love them and they scoop them up. So somebody says use black for the base and then add Woodubend. Oh, it's David. In the legs in copper. Ooh, copper. I put gold gilding on the floor, but copper would be a good plan too. Let's see. Hopefully we can get that far. I might be able to dry the side enough to show you that part. So once again, I'm just coming in with this really weird color, right? Have you used pine cone? Believe it or not, this color gets used quite a bit over here. I use it a lot in my landscapes when I'm painting fields, grassy fields. I used it last week in my blue sky. Remember I painted that beautiful blue sky with the birds, which if you didn't see the finished product from last week, you can go over and check it out on my TikTok or my Instagram. I even put one up here on my Facebook page. So if you're looking for me on like any social media, anywhere, you can always find me at the Top Drawer RVA. The Top Drawer RVA is here, me, Top Drawer RVA. RVA stands for Richmond, Virginia area. So I'm just drying this a little bit. And I don't have to take this drawer out because the edges are black. I can't pull it out anyways. That screwdriver's too big. It's too big for what I need to do. The edges of this little cupboard are black, so it really makes no difference whether or not I paint with the drawer in or like pull it out a little bit to get the edges. You're not going to see it because of that darker black color. Okay, so I'm just putting the caviar over here. And I'm going to put a little bit more of that pine cone in the middle, making sure it's wet. And I'm going to spray it with my water. All right, so here we go with my brush again, that staying brush. Wipe it off to get started, right? Because it's holding all of that paint up here in the brush. It's holding it all. I'm going to take it and I'm going to swirl. Now remember, I'm going to be covering this piece with a lot of stuff. Woodubend, transfers. There's going to be a lot going on. So to be honest, even if my paint finish wasn't like 100% perfect, if you're worried about like doing a blend, like if you're freaked out going, oh, my blend's not perfect, I don't like it, I'm fussing with it too much, don't stress out. You can always paint over top of it. It's just paint. But you can also just stick a whole bunch of stuff all over top of it. You wouldn't even see it. I just want to dry this area a little bit more. It's being a little fussy in the middle because I didn't lay down like an even coat. Normally I would come in here and just do like one whole coat of pine cone. Now I made it worse. But I was, like I said, not feeling 100% today. So that meant my prep time got diminished today. Sinus infection is no joke. But y'all know I will be here every Wednesday, rain or shine. Oh, that's better. I fixed it. So now I just have to bring my black down here and fix this little kind of line at the bottom. Yeah, the sinus infection is making me, it's like carrying like a weird pain in my face. My face hurts. my nose hurts. It hurts like crazy. So we'll see. We'll give it a couple days. If it doesn't go away, I guess I have a trip to the doctor, but I try not to go to the doctor if I don't have to go, because who wants to do that? That's not fun. All right, sweet. Do we like this? Do we like this cloudy blend? Can you see my little plan start to happen? Let's continue. Let's do one more side before I get out the Woodubend. I really want that to be a bit more dry before we hop in there. So once again with the caviar, now you can see how fast these go. This is another reason why I like to paint tiny tables, because they're quick. You could paint a whole entire table in one day and get it done. And that fits my schedule because I don't have a lot of time. I'm painting every day. I got stuff going on all the time. So I like a small table, a fast flip. But this one is for you all here on the Dixie Belle Paint page. I do save a lot of these videos to my YouTube, so if you're just happening to catch me on my YouTube channel, you can find a lot of my lives uploaded there as well, and I will always include the finished products. You can see all of the steps after the camera was off. Pinecone and Caviar. If you don't follow me on YouTube, come over and follow me on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. I put shorts up there too, so you get to see a little bit of what I'm working on creatively. Like a little bit of baby sets, little teeny tiny shorts to see what I am up to. And I've almost reached 10,000 followers over there on YouTube. So it'd be great if you came over and said hi. And that's also where I get to release all of my new items. Anytime Dixie Belle has something new coming up, whether it be papers or transfers or stencils, new paint colors, I always get in there and make sure that I have a YouTube video ready to go for that week. So if you're ever wondering what the newest thing is at Dixie Belle, and you come over and check out my YouTube, you will get to see. I'd love to see you over there. Okay, so again, just making sure that Caviar is wet, and I'm going to spray it with my water, and I'm going to blot off my brush. Remember, this brush is holding a lot of paint in it. It gets really saturated. It holds a lot of paint up in there. Small circular motions, pulling these two colors together. This is how fast and easy blending can be when you have a Bastang brush. You're able to really do this quickly. You know, I feel like in the old days when I used to get out two separate brushes and I would make sure that everything was separate and then go back in with the dry brush and clean it up. I actually like this cloudy blend 1,000 times better. It's much more interesting visually to me than using those separate brushes. Sometimes this brush does shed, I will tell you that, because it's a natural bristle brush, and sometimes they get a little bit sheddy, but you can easily wait till it dries and then just sand off that tiny hair. Or if you wanted to, you could just pick it off like I did. Okay, so here's my second cloudy surface. I'm gonna come down here and fix this tiny little base. Sometimes I can see something happen out of the corner of my eye when I'm talking, and I like to fix it before I go any further. That's better. What do you think? Super cute, right? Does it look like leather? I think it does. I think it looks like leather. Okay, so let's go back to the first side that we started on, see where we're at for dry time. Let's see what's happening. Okay, so we're not 100% dry, so let's blast one corner because I know I'm gonna put these gears in one spot, like here, and then I'll probably wait until I'm done this before I apply the rest of the gears because I also want to layer the transfer. I don't think I want to layer the transfer obviously where the gears are. I might put the transfer down and then layer the gears on top. So let's just get this corner dry down here so I can show you exactly how to use a Woodubend molding. You want to learn? It's kind of fun. So what do you need to do a Woodubend molding? Well, you need wood glue. You can buy wood glue pretty much anywhere. This happens to be my Gorilla wood glue. As long as it says wood glue, because these Woodubends are actually wood, right? That's what they are. So let's take this over here. So you can buy an exclusive range of Woodubends from Dixie Belle Paint page that are not anywhere else. This just happens to be from the Dixie Belle Paint page. Like I said, I had a couple sets, and this was meandering about in the bottom of my Woodubend drawer. So when you get your Woodubend, it comes in this package, nice and strong so that they don't get broken, and you can heat them up and use them. Let's use this big one right here, and then we're going to stick it on. So you have a couple of different options when you have Woodubend, okay? Let me move my paint out of the way here. You can paint your Woodubend before you apply your Woodubend or after you apply your Woodubend, okay? You don't have to paint it first. Where's my little brush? There she is. What you can do is you can paint them separately. So here's my newest favorite thing when I'm doing gears, because I kind of like them to look like old, kind of like real metal, if that makes sense. Look, I have Kleenex like attached to everything with this cold. It's like sending me over the edge. I feel like a grandma. I was like shoving Kleenex in my sleeves today. Fun times, fun times. All right, so I've been using Gilding Wax on my Woodubends and then sticking them on my piece because Gilding Wax in gold or Gilding Wax in bronze gives you kind of like a patina that's different than paint. Gilding Wax is an oil-based product, so you can use this last if you want. You can seal over top of it. Since it's oil-based and you do it at the end of your game, if you're all done and you're just kind of touching your corners, you don't have to seal it because it will harden up really well. I also use this on hardware. Let's see if I can open the drawer. Dun, dun, dun. I think I can take it open. I can take it open. That could have been a disaster, but it wasn't a disaster. In here is 2 hardware. So this is the original hardware of the piece. You can also use gilding wax on hardware, okay? So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to use your gilding wax, and hopefully you guys give it a go, because gilding wax is like one of my most favorite things to use. All right, so what do you do first? Well, we're going to take this gilding wax in an artisan brush. I keep one brush once it gets kind of ruined for painting. I keep the same brush for all of my gilding wax needs. So what I'm going to do is take a few minutes and apply this gilding wax exactly to my gear. Okay, I will be using black wax on this piece as well, so if I miss any tiny little spots, I can easily cover them with black wax. But for now, I really want to just get it in its edges and apply my gilding wax. It is going to get in your hands, but it washes off with a scrubby soap. What's your favorite gilding wax color? Do you have one that you use more than others? I think I go through a pot of gold gilding wax in like a month. I use it for everything. I use it for hardware. I use it for Woodubends. I put gilding wax on like all of the edges of my pieces, the corners of my pieces to get that glow. I've actually been using a little bit more chameleon wax lately. Chameleon wax is kind of fun because it's iridescent and has a shine to it. And it almost like shimmers and changes color like mermaid style, which is a lot of fun. Gilding wax comes in how many colors? I'm gonna say like 9. There's like silver and gold and bronze and zinc. There's a lot of colors, but the chameleon wax only comes in 3 different colors: lilac, apricot, and cactus. Okay, so now I've got my little gear all colored in here. Let me just turn around, make sure I didn't miss any edges. Now we're going to take this and we're going to stick it on our piece. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to show you. Let's take the camera. Hopefully we can aim you down and then you can see my heat gun in action. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it down, face down. Okay, so it's face down right here on my floor. I do not suggest that you use a heat gun and a moving blanket. Ask me not how, why you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that because it's going to melt. Moving blankets, if you use them as your base for protecting your floors, yeah, they melt when you use a heat gun on top of them, just so you know. So I just do this here on cardboard. I can heat up this backing. So this hard molding is going to go from hard to bendable. Now, why do you want to heat it up even if it's flat? You're like, hey, Melissa, that's flat. That's flat. Just stick it on there. Well, guess what? Not anything is really truly flat. Like, it could actually have a slight bend in it. Like, I could be working and maybe this was like a curved surface, or maybe my Woodubends got like heated up in the mail. But right now it's really warm and now you can see that it actually is bendy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take my glue. Hopefully the lid will give me glue. Oh, good, it's working. I'm going to put my glue on my piece. Now, you could use a paintbrush for this, but you all know that I am a messy painter. I'm just going to stick my fingers in there and paint it. So now you're ready to take this Woodubend and stick it on your piece. Okay, so all you're gonna have to do, let's aim you back up, is take this. I'm gonna put it right here in the corner and I'm gonna stick it on my piece. Okay, you can push it, and then what's gonna happen? You could tape it. You know that it's stuck there, but I want you to do one more thing before you're finished. I want you to heat it up one more time. Heating it one more time is just going to ensure that your Woodubend is actually stuck to the piece, right? It's giving you that extra insurance that it's really stuck on there, and you can know that it is good to go. So I'm just going to make sure that I didn't miss any of my little corners with my gold gilding wax. And how cute is that? So cute, right? So we also talked about hardware. So this hardware is like a brown hardware, nothing too fancy, right? You could spray paint it, you could leave it as it is, but I'm gonna give it a little touch of gold. So this is my gold gilding wax brush, and I'm just gonna gently give it a little rub. What's gonna happen is it's gonna shine it up a little bit, right? It's just gonna give it a little bit of a gold look that will match well with this. Let's do the other piece. So once again, I'm just gonna take my gold, and I'm just gonna gently rub it. You could do it very heavy-handed and you would be able to change the color of your entire hardware. And once this sits, you buff it back after a couple hours. Once it sits, it's hard as rocks. You could get whole new hardware. You don't have to go out shopping for new hardware. If you just want to change the color, take it off and do gold gilding wax. I use it all the time.